Kelley Hobart. I'm here from Alpaca Direct, and it's nice to be with you all here on Facebook Live this morning. And I am going to be talking about how to make your thumb gussets a little bit better. I did a lot of research, spent some time working on this to try and see if I could come up with some nice ideas to make our gussets better. So the problem that I'm talking about is when these are my little samples. They're just tiny little samples that I have here. And when we're doing thumbs, we have to put stitches on waste yarn like this, and then we start doing the top of the mitten, and it creates a hole that looks like that. You see that hole? So that's the problem that I'm talking about today that I would like to fix and make it easier for you. Of course, we could do duplicate stitch and have that work out, fine. But I was wondering if there are other ways that we can do it so that we can do it while we're knitting and have most of the hole completely closed. So we have very little to go back and try and fix.
So Sherry says hi.
So, good morning, Sherry. It's nice to have you with us. And so I had a great week. I worked on quite a few crochet projects because remember, I get so sucked into knitting and I love knitting so much that I neglect my poor old crochet. So here I am, I was working on crochet and I was having a fantastic time. So as we're going along, if you have any questions about the projects that I have knit and I'm showing you or crocheted and showing you, go ahead and ask the questions and we can answer them right away. And let us know where you're from and maybe what you're working on. Every single week we have a prize, and this last week's prize was this lovely Eco Puna. And this week's prize, I thought we would try this Crochet custom quarter again. And the reason why I like it so much is not everyone knows about this handy little gadget, and it is really fun to use, and I used it on a couple of my projects this week, and so I thought it would be a great giveaway for today.
So Patricia says hi from South Florida.
Hi Patricia, good morning. It's nice seeing all of you here on Facebook Live. I'm so happy to be working and having a great time and being able to share it with you. It's awesome. So a couple of the projects that I did this week, I said I was working on crochet. And my ultimate goal for crochet, as we were talking about last week, was this little set of booties and hat that are partially crocheted and partially knit. The bottom is a crocheted booty and the top is knit. And I really, really like the idea of mixing crochet and knitting. So I use this Wellington boot pattern, and it is a fantastic pattern, and it's by Inventorium. And this was my pattern here that I used. And I was having such a great time. And this is what I created from that pattern. So if you look at this really closely, and you look at it on the sides, this is all crocheted right in here. Then from here on up, I did knit. Now, to make these, the little almost looks like knit stitch ridges, the slip stitch ridges, you crochet into the very, very back of the stitch. And so when I was picking up my stitches to be able to do the top part of my boot, I picked them up that same exact way, and it made that line like that, and it was totally cool. Now, when we were talking about the Crochet custom quarter, these are the little shoelaces for these little snow boots that I made, and they were made with this Crochet custom quarter. I thought it was totally cool. But these little boots, they even have, Jim, show them, see the little tongue on the little boot? It's really cute. It's by you doing that slip stitch edge. You know how I talked before about how to make beautiful edges and you slip the stitch? Well, that's what I did to create this. And interesting thing, as I was knitting along, I tried it 2 different ways. Slip the first stitch and then knit the last stitch, or to do it the opposite and knit the first stitch and slip the last stitch. And I found that by slipping the last stitch on this, it actually made it nicer looking than if I slipped the first stitch, if that makes any sense. which is very interesting. But doing these little booties, it was great fun. I had a great time. And do you see the bottom, how cute it is? It has this different color on the edge. And these little, going around these was kind of a chore for me to get the actually needle into the stitches, because, you know, I kind of crochet and knit rather tight. And so it was those 3 rounds were a challenge for me. But I was able to do it. It wasn't a challenge because I didn't know what I was doing. It was a challenge to actually get the job done, to try and get the needle into the small space that I had created. So the next project we're going to be talking about is these. Yes?
Oh, so Amy says hi. And
hi,
Helen,
Amy. Good morning.
Susan.
Hi, Helen. Hi, Susan.
So from Minnesota and Ohio, Florida.
Fantastic. Awesome. Nice to have all of you with us today. Now I'm going to be talking about this next pattern that I have. It's called Warm Winter Booties. And when I was very first learning how to crochet, I did this pattern, and they're by Mamachi. It's M-A-M-A-C-H-E-E. And it's paid for pattern on Ravelry. And she is a fantastic pattern writer. I just love her. And I was making these little booties. Has hair on it, sorry.
Mention who these are for.
So these ones were, well, these are baby gifts, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, these are baby gifts. We have several babies that were just born. This one, I kind of blocked it and it went flat. But here's my end goal, and I haven't put the little buttons on here yet. And what it is, look what I did to the inside of it. Okay. Do you guys see that? I whip stitched. Do you remember how I did the pom-poms the week before? I'm looking at that nice, soft little fleece going, wouldn't that make a fantastic liner for baby booties, like little baby Uggs? And so I whip stitched it to the edge. Do you see that? And then when I turn them inside out.
They want to see the front.
Oh, it's not finished. It's kind of a work in progress. But I have to put little buttons, a button here and a button here. And I'll show you what it matches. Oh my gosh. Okay. Here's the pattern. It's called the Crocheted Puppy Hat, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry as well. And it's this one is made by Sarah Zimmerman, and it's on repeatcrafterme.com. And this is a great pattern. Mind you, I'm a very novice crocheter, and I was able to get through this with no problem. So all of you who want to, you know, easy pattern, or want some fun, this was a great pattern to do.
Hey,
and let me show you mine.
Rosemary says hi from Michigan, but can you ask them if they can hear you okay?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay as we're going along? We have a new sound system, and I want to make sure that it is working fantastic for you, because we're trying to make life as good as possible for all of us. And as we're going along, if you see something that you like, press that like button and maybe share with your buddies so they can have fun too. And here's the little hat that I made. Do you see that? And if you look at these little edges, this is the Krynick custom quartered. That's what it does. And I purposefully made them different lengths so that it would be cute. And I put these little puppy ears on here. Oh, it's so cute. Anyways, I thought that was really fun. And this is hand painted yarn. It's a little hard to see because this side was a little bit darker than the other side. But I'm using all scraps. I mean, oh my gosh. These are really nice scraps. It's cashmere blend. And so it's great for me to be able to use scraps that are, well, I have some lovely scraps. Thank you, honey. My husband allows me to buy such beautiful yarn. I'm so blessed. Also, I'm still working away, oh my gosh, on my mittens. These things, I am working on the decreases, but I got off on a row on the back. I am so close to being done. I was hoping to be able to wear them and actually start using them today. And my pattern on the back here is off by a row, so I have to go back. I couldn't spend any more time on it this morning. That was my allotted time. So anyways, but I am loving this Norland hat and mitten pattern that I was working on from before. Now let's go to our thumb gussets. Oh my goodness. Yes, and as we're going along, if you have projects that you're working on or you would love to share, please share them with us. Oh my gosh, we learned so much from you, and there's some fantastic knitters and crocheters out there. So I love your wisdom. I love being able to learn from you too, because you know that's one of my favorite things is learning something new.
I haven't heard if they can hear. No one said if they can hear you okay, so if they
Yeah,
can
I
just
don't know.
put it in the comments, let us know.
Also, I have this yarn sitting here, and this yarn, I'm going to be making these booties with this yarn. So my bottom part of the boot will be that color, and the top part will be this Sueno's lovely yarn. And then we got this new, it's called Alpine, it's like a luxe fur effect. It is so soft, and I'm going to line it around the edge, but I'm still horsing around, and we'll be making more of these. I'm sure I'm going to be making a lot of. What I love about mixing the crochet and the knitting booties is that the crocheted booties have more structure to them, so they look more like a boot. And then the knitting is beautiful too, so you combine the two and you get this really cute little thing. I was so excited about these.
They said they can hear you fine.
And my husband was probably, I was driving him crazy because I kept saying, oh, aren't those cute? Anyways, I have several baby gifts I'm doing, so some lucky recipients, little ones, will be wearing my trinkets that I'm making. So it's awesome. All right, so now that we have looked, again, this is the problem that we're trying to solve today, right? The hole that you get in the gusset, and that is caused when the stitches are put on scrap yarn and you resume knitting in the round without having those stitches. The stitches are no longer interconnected right there, and so it creates a hole, which is so unfortunate. Anyways, all right, so this first sample that I have was, and I did it in different color yarn. I did it in different color yarn so that you could see what you might be getting if you're going to do this for yourself. And all it is a regular gusset with duplicate stitch on the inside. The thing I didn't like about doing the duplicate stitch on the inside while I was working it is I can't really see what I'm doing. I can't see what it looks like on the outside. So it looks okay, but I almost would rather do my duplicate stitch on the outside so I can control and see what it's actually going to be looking like on the actual item that I'm wearing. And so, and because you can see that it still shows through here. And you could close it up without doing duplicate stitch and just cinch it tight. But I have found that if I just try to cinch it tight like that, it feels like I cinched it tight. It feels like a very hard lump. And I don't know if I like that look. Anyway, so then I thought, let's look at a couple different samples and ways of doing things. So this third sample is how I've told you about Michelle Hunter many times. And the way that she does her gussets is she uses smiles directly in the ditch, and she starts on the right hand side and picks up the stitches and then use knit two together and slips twice. And that's what this looked like. So that was closed significantly. That looked pretty good. It's pretty well closed, but it's still not perfect. You're gonna still have to go back and do a little bit of seaming. And mind you, when you pick up the stitches and you start knitting for your thumb, make sure you leave yourself a nice long tail. Don't do the traditional 6 to 8 inches because you might run out of yarn before you run out of holes. Just a word to the wise. It's better to have a little more and cut some off than it is to be struggling trying to come up with enough yarn to actually get the job done. So, okay. And the next sample that I have here, it shows the from a technique from Knit CA, and she stabs the stitch in the face and grabs the very top of the frown, not the right leg, not the left leg, but the top of the frown. And let me show you what this looks like when it's finished. And I'm going to be showing you, and that looks pretty good too. That looks pretty good too. You can see my strand of yarn underneath there, but it does look pretty clean. So doing either one of those techniques where you are picking up a stitch on each side of your thumb gusset, and knitting is going to close the hole a bit and help you out. So I highly recommend doing that. And then doing the left leaning and then the right leaning decreases as you're doing them. Helps, really helps to make it look uniform and nice looking. So, whoops, there it goes again. Okay, so here, 1 second, Jim. My needles fell out. These are my thumb stitches, and I actually put the cord on here because these last make one right and make one left, we're trying to sink down in my work because my scrap yarn is kind of small. It's not a chunky weight scrap yarn. I just use anything for scrap yarn, and sometimes it comes back and bites me, and this would be an example of that. So one thing that I did want you to think about when you're doing your thumb gussets, you know how on thumb gussets it'll say increase around, so you'll do a make one right, knit to the end of your stitch marker where your stitch marker is, and then you would make one left, and then you would go ahead and you would go on and do a knit round, and then you would do another increase round, right? Well, I think that if you don't do that on the very last increase, stop right after the increase. Don't do another knit round, because your actual stitch that was the increase stitch seems to have less yarn in it, which would mean less of a hole. I don't know. I think that it is a good idea. You might try it and see if it works for you. Another thing that I was thinking about is when we are doing our projects and we're going to join. 1 second, Jim, I'm trying to show them what I'm talking about first. So here is our thumb, and we're going to join and do the top part of the hand, right? What if you actually picked up as if you were going to make a stitch and then did a left leaning and then right leaning? Decrease right then and there, right before you started, right? So right here, what I mean by that is here I'm coming around here, and you see how this stitch right here has extra yarn in it, right? This stitch right here is baggy because it's coming from this gusset, the gap where we took off our stitches. So if you went as if you were going to make one left, which bring the working yarn up over the top, and then you would go ahead and knit this, and then you would go to the next one. And I just found that if I go here and I'm saying, where is this running thread going to be causing me problems, I would go ahead and pick that up in here, put that back on there, and do a slip knit. So you would do that slip knit, and what it's going to do for you, if I can ever get it, it's because I have it twisted around there. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, slip. I'm getting strands of yarn instead of the actual whole stitch. All right, there. Now it's done. Okay, do you see how that pulled it all in? It's much closer to there. That little thing, just as you joined, is going to take a bunch of slack out of there, out of your hole. See how closed it is? Now when I put these up on the needle, it's even going to be closed tighter, but it will not look too tight at all. It looks really nice. Then if you go on the bottom and you pick up that one stitch and then the other stitch, there is almost no hole at all. Let me show you. So see how tight that is? This is not on the, what you have to see, here's what you have to see.
Why don't you slow down and show it a little?
1 second, let me just show you. When you pick up, you see how when this is on the needles, and this needle is even smaller than the needle I'm working. Do you see how the hole is essentially closed? So if you pick up another stitch in here, it's going to be so closed that you're going to have something that looks like that. And if you look at this, Okay, this one was kind of a little bit loose still, but it's so closed. There's no seaming. I mean, there's not much on here that you have to seam. Other than this one stitch, I might pull this, and I bet you, yeah, it's my tail. That's my tail that is causing the problem on there. But if you pull the tail tight,
flip it toward me.
Look, it's closed. It's completely closed. No seaming. So what I'm saying about this is if you do that little trick where you pick up the running thread on the top when you're joining it in the round to do the top part of your mitten, and then you grab your stitch, and right here is where I've grabbed the stitches. So when I was examining how Michelle did it as opposed to the knit CA lady, all she did is she looked for the running stitch, the running thread that was coming off the last stitch on the thumb gusset, and look where that goes in. Do you see where it goes into this stitch right here? So knit CA grabs in the center here, and she pulls her stitch from right there. Okay, and then Michelle Hunter pulls it from the left-hand leg. She pulls it from an edge, where knit CA pulls it from the center. So, and either way seem to work really well. Either way seems fine. The only thing you have to remember is, like, here's your running thread again. Here's that running thread on the other side, and it goes right into this stitch right here. So this is the one that you're going to poke in the face according to knit CA. And if you're Michelle Hunter, you're going to grab this leg. Okay, and it didn't make a huge difference. I thought grabbing it in the center was nice, but if you grabbed it on the edge, it worked well too. Just try and see if you can do that little trick that I showed you for the top of the gusset, where you're going to, it makes sense to me because I'm sitting here going, okay, so we have this gap here, right? And we're trying to fix it only from the thumb side. I'm saying fix it from both sides. It'll bring it in twice as tight as it would if you just did it from one side. So I'm saying fix it from up here, and then fix it from the thumb when you start doing the thumb. And you'll have so little to close. Your life is going to be glorious because you'll have really nothing to, I mean, if you want to put 1 or 2 duplicate stitches in there to make your heart happy, I would say go ahead and do it. But really, it is so closed. It is fantastic. Very little work. And I love doing finish work. It's awesome and everything. But if I don't have to, God is good. So as we're going along, make sure you're pushing the like button and sharing with your buddies. And if you have any great ideas that you would like to share, please share them with us because we totally want to learn from you too. And our fellow knitters in our VIP group share with each other all the time, and they have such fantastic work. I can't tell you how creative and talented these people are. So if you're interested in that, go there and check out our VIP Facebook group. Also, a couple things I wanted to mention. We had almost run out of our extreme winter boot socks, and we have a nice supply back in, but they have been flying off the shelves. So if you have cold feet and it's stormy and freezing wherever you are, it's cold here. It's not snowing that much, but it is pretty cold. And these boot socks are one of our very best sellers. So the extreme boot socks are back. And let's see. Oh, on special today, we have the 12th day of Christmas. And this is Blue Sky Royal Alpaca Petites. And they're like 50% off. And it's not very often that you find really high quality yarn at 50% off. And this is a great opportunity. So if you guys like working with Royal Alpaca.
Here's a question, what is Royal Alpaca?
Well, if you've tried baby alpaca, then we have super baby alpaca, which is fantastic. And right above super baby alpaca is royal alpaca. So in the comparison chart of quality and grades of softness It goes baby alpaca, super alpaca, or super baby alpaca, and then royal alpaca. And oh my goodness, it is fantastic. I know that people say do not knit with royal alpaca or alpaca items because they have to be hand washed. Don't do that for babies. But I'm telling you, that's the first thing my son asked for his daughter, Evie, was make sure you make her something in alpaca. And if I make it in royal alpaca, it's that much more special. So it is fantastic yarn, and I totally love it. Now, we have this new knit along that's coming up on January 10th. And the gentleman who is doing it, his name is Kyle Kunnick. And it's going to be on January 10th, and it's using Simply Kriya. And it is a really nice shawl. It's basic color work. And I've been trying to, this was a hat that I was thinking that I might want to match. And I was thinking that I could possibly do this, or I don't know if something. I need 4 of the background is going to be 4 skeins, and then the color work. I kind of like this color work one to match my hat, my pocket slouch. So I may do this, I'm not sure, or that. Either way, I'll figure it out. I find ideas about things that I like, and then I just let it sit there for a little while, because I have been known to change my mind on occasion. You know how we are. So I don't wind anything. I just let it sit, and I keep walking by it and looking at it and saying, do I like this, or does it call to me? And then I'll decide which one I'm going to do. But that upcoming knit along is on the 10th, and that'll be a great free knit along. It's not a mystery knit along. You can look at it on Ravelry, and there's no pattern posted yet, but the actual picture of the item that's going to be color work, 2 color work, and it is a very pretty shawl.
There was a question about the gussets.
Sure.
Are we going to have a blog around that, or
yes.
pictures?
Oh yes, I will be having posting a blog on that, and I put a lot of work into trying to figure out what would work best for all of us, and so I wanted to share that with you, because it's always, it's not very often in knitting that we actually experiment with different methods for a common problem, such as the thumb gusset. And I put a lot of work into it, and I really feel like using either the Michelle Hunter, the way she does her gusset, by picking up the stitches and on either the right leg or the left leg, whatever side of the glove you're working on, that depends on what side you pick up. And then with a knit CA, where she just stabs the stitch in the face and picks up the very top of the stitch, and that worked well too. So the custom quarter is our prize for today, and the way that you enter to win that prize is to post comments in the comment section. Let us know where you're from and what you're working on. If you show us what you're working on, can you please tell us what the name of the pattern is? Because we get so inspired by all of you out there, and I cannot knit fast enough to keep up with all of you. But I sure am going to try and knit and or crochet. There's some beautiful items out there. And of course, we do have that VIP Facebook group, and it is fantastic. If you want to learn from other people, you just go look there. It's free, and we all share with each other, and it really is neat. So this last week's winner won this Eco Puna, which is 100% baby alpaca, and this is a fantastic DK weight yarn. And the winner for this prize Marie Ferner. You have won. And the way that you get your prize is you get in contact with us and give us your address so that we can ship it to you. And as soon as you give us an address, we can ship it out in the mail. And you're going to like this yarn. You're in for a treat. And so, anyways, I hope that you enjoy it. It's Marie Ferner, Ferner. So if you know her, can you please congratulate her and have her give us her address so that we can get out in the mail to her. And then I am looking to see what else. I make sure that I have not missed anything. Oh, for Jim, I was hoping this was gonna work. The day after Christmas,
Day before.
No, I wanted to do it the day after. Could we?
Okay.
Yeah. The day after the Christmas, I was thinking that I'll go ahead and do my Facebook Live then, because I will be well rested, because Jim and I are on our own on Christmas. We're having our family gathering on Christmas Eve, so Jim and I are going to be taking it easy and eating leftovers of Christmas, so I'm looking forward to that. Lots of time to knit and crochet, and so that is fantastic for me. And what I'm going to be talking about this,
It's
yes?
going to be on, so they're saying, when is it going to be?
It is the day after Christmas.
So Wednesday.
At 9:30 a.m. Yeah, and I have it written, it's Tuesday down here, but oh, not so. I think I forgot to change something. But it's all good. I know what I'm talking about, even if it isn't written properly.
So Wednesday at 9:30.
So yes, Wednesday at 9:30. And this next week, I will be talking about New Year's resolutions for knitting and crochet that are worth keeping. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, and I'll mostly be talking about things that, you know, I value and are important to me, and that have helped me along the way, so that I could become the knitter that I am, and in short order. And I have like a master's in knitting, with all the time that I spent on knitting. But I don't just knit. I mean, I actually research and learn, and I really enjoy it. It's fun, and I love being able to share it with all of you out there. So I hope that you all have a very, very Merry Christmas, and I will be talking to you before New Year's. So you all take care, and I will talk to you this next week.